kind of like Gal Gadot has like some strange accent that I've never heard. You know, like the Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
she has an accent too, and I don't know. I think maybe she's Israeli.
She's Israeli. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not an accent that you'll hear pretty regularly, but it's just kind of disconcerting whenever she talks because you think that she'll speak. She has speak without an accent, but you'll hear that, and it's kind of distracting whenever she's around.
Speaking of weird accents, have you ever heard the guy who plays Dewey Crowe talk?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's fantastic. Yeah, because he does a really good American Southern redneck accent.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
And it's one of the disconcerting thing is that's his English accent is the native. What he's really good to. He does a good job on this show.
To see him being interviewed about being Dewey Crowe and talking in his British accent, it's so weird.
It's so funny. It is.
I think there is an interview of him in costume as Dewey Crowe with the British accent. That is really off-putting. Yeah.
I know that I posted like something where it was like a promo hit or like just some quick thing, and they're asking him a question, and he's talking about Justified, and it was like the whole with the English accent. It's fantastic.
And it's really good. Like there's no gaps in his accent, no issues with his at all. So we've got a few threads that we have to clean up. We mentioned Raylan stopped by Audrey's to ask about Messer. He tells the Crows to leave town. When they say they're not going to leave town, he then says, okay, well, I'm taking Kendall into child services. There's a little bit of a standoff, almost a shootout. Raylan's kind of hoping for a shootout, I think. But Kendall volunteers to go to avoid the shootout. And he agrees to go along voluntarily, and Daryl doesn't try and stop him. At the same time, Mooney presents Boyd's hand to Paxton, or the hand that they're pretending is Boyd. So remember at the end of the last episode, Boyd held Mooney at gunpoint, offered him a bunch of money to pretend to kill him. And they did, and they tattooed head... Right? Oh, skin. Sorry. They tattooed skin on the knuckles. And Paxton looked at us and goes, what's this tattoo? Skin? And then Mooney goes, I don't know, some racist thing or something, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, does no one realize that he has a skinhead tattoo on his knuckles? Like, that's what that is. It's a skinhead tattoo. Have you not seen American History X? What the hell is wrong with you people?
I heard somebody just saying as a joke, the first, I don't know, whatever it is, was like the greatest 15 minutes or whatever, just as totally like play into that whole skinhead thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It boggled my mind that nobody, that, in a room full of people, no one realizes that Boyd's tattoo is skinhead. It's so strange. But,
and they sort of brought that because they kind of stayed away from it this whole time, except for the first episode, and then now it's coming back again. And it actually, I think it maybe in the next episode or the episode after that, it plays into what happens to other characters as far as
it does.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and we had the whole sexy Boyd scene with Mara last episode. So
yeah.
With the tats, but so there's that. They ask, so he promises Mooney he'll support him for a sheriff for the full-time job, and Mara asks him, hey, do you want to drop the charges against Ava now that Boyd's dead? And he says no, let's keep her locked up. So that kind of seals his fate.
Yeah.
And then what's the there's this, I don't know, I included this. The only reason I included this is because Raylan and Allison bang, and she tells him this story about a kid locked in a tool shed.
Oh, yeah, no.
And it's awful.
Yeah.
But I wanted to include it because I wanted to mention that I think that the amount of nudity that they show in that scene, because she like kind of climbs off of him.
Yeah.
Like you get a full naked behind view of Amy Smart in that scene.
Yeah.
Like it's as graphic as any scene we've seen in Justified, and that includes the two naked ladies in the pool earlier this season.
Or the other one, the bounty hunter.
Yeah. This is actually, it feels more prurient than the bounty hunter was, because it was like almost like carved out of marble sort of thing. Where this is like, it's like the camera is like angled between her legs, angled up as she's climbing off of Raylan. Like she's very obviously got a modesty patch or whatever on. Because if she didn't, we would see all the way down the well.
See the China.
Yeah, exactly. So there's that, and I wanted to mention that because I thought it was odd that there was such a graphic scene. But she also tells that awesome story about a kid being locked in a tool shed, which is just awful.
It's what, but it's something that I've heard before, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably heard like something like that happen before, right?
Well, I have an aunt who's a social worker for child services. And just the stories that you hear.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's just,
and those are the ones that you hear about, right?
Yes.
And that doesn't even explain like some of this just awful stuff that they do to kids, which is terrible.
Well, and that's what Allison's whole point was, right? Like this guy who is treating this kid worse than you would treat your worst enemy. Is ready to fight me because I'm taking the kid away because it's his family. Yeah. It's wild. So, but that's consistent with what I've heard from other people who work in that industry. So, and then Carl shows Boyd a room full of dead and decaying bodies. And we don't really know what's going on there, but all the bodies, it appears that all the bodies from the robbery of the shipment, the last robbery of the shipment, and the prior robbery of the shipment are piled on a floor for Boyd to use for something, and we don't know exactly what that is.
But you remember we talked about how they were burying those, removing those things. So then did they dig them up again?
They did.
They did. Talking about this is a lot of work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess you can get a front end loader or something out there. Although you got to be careful with that, right? Because you don't want to destroy any of the bodies that you need. Yeah. So it'll be kind of delicate, like an archaeologist.
Oh yeah,
with those museum.
Those brushes, it's like
like the people who are digging up dinosaurs. Yeah.
That's terrible.
All right. Well, I think that gets us through the episode. Anything that you had that I didn't get?
No, I think that was it. Okay. I think this episode and the next two in this whole that we've gone through so far are probably two of my favorites as far as through this season. Like these are they're this one and the next one. Yeah. After what seems like a slow start, things are coming together as far as like the different stories and stuff, and so I think I'm looking forward to it because I think I had mentioned to you, I go, you know what, maybe it isn't it isn't as bad as I remember as far as the season. But no, I enjoyed these two episodes that are coming. This one today, the one that we're talking about, and the next one I enjoyed.
Cool. Yeah, my favorite this season is the one that takes place mostly in Mexico. That's my favorite. That's coming up here in a few episodes. So we'll get to that after the new year. But let's get to our last segment then.
I was telling my friends this morning how yesterday you come to me and if you don't get out of town in 24 hours, I'm going to shoot you on sight. Fire now!
Are you going to shoot him if you catch him?
I'll kill 4 of you before you even clear your weapons, and I'll take my chances with the other 2.
If you get the chance, shoot him in the nuts.
I don't pull my sidearm unless I'm going to shoot to kill.
Are you going to shoot him too, Raylan? And Raylan doesn't shoot anybody this episode.
No, he does not.
Nope. And now there were a couple of tense situations, as we had talked about. There was the situation with the crows in the was it the whorehouse or was it the bar?
The whorehouse.
The whorehouse. Yeah, right when he's about to pick up Kendall. Yeah. And I think that, let me see here. Yeah, I think the only body we have is Dewey Crowe shooting Wade Messer.
I think you're right.
And that was it as far as what would we say, as far as any of the bodies that were supposed to drop.
Yeah. Well, and the poor bastard who served as Boyd's proxy
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But that guy was probably dead anyway.
Yeah, and that was off camera and everything else. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think this is a little bit of a reprieve from what's about to come.
Because they're going to have to send all the CSIs from everywhere.
This is probably the shortest are you going to shoot him too, Raylan, for the remainder of season 5.
Yeah.
So, definitely the bloodiest season of Justified.
Yeah.
Thanks to the cartel.
It's always the cartel.
It's always the cartel. So,
yeah.
All right.
So that's it for that. For that very quick and dirty. Are you gonna shoot him too?
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and wrap up the episode. So don't forget, subscribe, rate, and review. We say that in that order because it's the easiest way to do it. Subscribe. You click the little button that says subscribe in the corner of your podcast app. What that's going to do is it's going to make sure you get a new copy of whatever we release the day we release it. You won't have to look for it. You don't have to try and find out our production schedule, anything like that. You just automatically get the new episode whenever it's released. So subscribe to the podcast. Don't forget to rate, which is to give us a rating of 1 to 5 stars, hopefully 5. Unless you feel that the charm has worn off, in which case 3 is a perfectly acceptable rating.
Or send us hate mail.
That's groundlesspodcast@gmail.com. We prefer constructive criticism, not hate mail, but we also prefer 5-star reviews. So please do give us a 5-star review. It actually does really help. Even a 3-star review helps people find the show. So we do appreciate that. And then review is where you take the time to write a written review and tell what you like about the show and what you don't like about the show. And even better if you're coupling that with 5 stars, even if you're saying something you don't like about the show. So we do appreciate that. Check us out on social media, Groundless Pod or Groundless Podcast. You can check us out on Twitter, on Reddit, on Instagram, coming soon to YouTube as well. You'll be able to listen to the podcast on YouTube. And I think that's it, right? Is that all I was going to say there? Yeah, and don't forget to email us with your love troubles or comments, questions, corrections at groundlesspodcast@gmail.com. So that's it. We'll be back in 2 weeks, right? What do you think? Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks with season 5, episode 5 of Justified. We'll be taking a little bit of a break after that with the holidays and the new year coming up, but we'll be back then. After that episode, we'll be back in February with the remainder of the season. And I continue to get excited. I don't know about you, Randy, but the day that Justified City Primeval comes out is getting ever closer. And I am super excited about it.
Is there an official release date? We don't know yet, right?
There is no official release date yet. We don't have a trailer yet either, but even if we're on hiatus, when that trailer comes out, there'll be an episode of Groundless breaking down that trailer. So you can count on that. And as soon as there's a release date, we'll let everyone know. So check our Twitter. That's where we'll talk about it first, and then we'll talk about it on this show, of course. So
cool.
All right. So until next time in 2 weeks, thank you for listening, and don't forget to tell a friend or a family member about the show. Thanks.